Yale over Texas A&M is one of the most talked about potential upsets in this year's NCAA tournament. What do the Aggies have to do to take down the Bulldogs?
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about, are we in a good position quarterback-wise for the future? Kind of a thought I had this morning. We're going to talk about why do the Aggies not have any Texas from the state of Texas recruits in the 2026 class. But we're going to get the things kicked off here, talking about the matchup with Yale. But first, I got to tell you about today's show sponsor, Game Time. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So, Yale is a basketball team. I mean, once again, it's really, people think Yale, I think people genuinely think Yale is going to upset Texas A&M. And here's the reason I struggle to buy it, at least for a little bit, and I'll tell you this. If Yale hadn't beaten Auburn last year, would we be having this conversation right now? Like, think about that for 1 second. I don't think so. I think people are saying, oh, okay, it's another 4 versus 13 matchup, whatever. Obviously, some upsets happen here, but I don't think it's this huge upset alert topic that we see right now. So, and Yale's a good basketball team. They've only lost 7 games all year. So I want to pull up and see what was their record in conference. I actually don't know. They were 13-1 in conference. So that means all their losses. Who did their losses come to in non-conference? But they lost to University of Illinois, Chicago. They lost to Purdue. Now they hung with Purdue. They only lost, Purdue won that game by 8 points. They lost to Minnesota. They lost to Delaware. They lost to Rhode Island, and they lost to UTEP. And then their only loss in conference play, let's see, who did that come at the hands of? Came at the hands of, it's tough to find, was it in March? But Harvard. They lost to Harvard. Clearly, both teams weren't focused. They had to go study for an upcoming test, but they've lost to bad basketball teams. I mean, you pull up the metrics on Yale. They're a good team. I'm not sitting here knocking Yale. I'm simply saying if Yale had not pulled off that upset last year over the Auburn Tigers, are we having this conversation? So I really like the Bart Torvik rankings. I think those are pretty solid. And they have Texas A&M at 22. And they have Yale, still scrolling, at 79. So they have, I mean, once again, this is a basketball game. It's just, it's funny. If Texas A&M was playing Yale on a neutral site floor and it wasn't part of the NCAA tournament, no one's talking about this game. This is only being talked about because of the NCAA tournament and the upsets and all of that fun stuff that come with it. So I don't look at this and say to myself, hey, I think that the Yale Bulldogs are for sure going to pull off this upset. I think it's kind of a narrative that people are creating. So what Texas A&M's got to do to avoid that is what they've done all season long, continue to play dominant defense. So in KenPom, this always makes me feel better. I like Torvik, but I also like KenPom. In KenPom, Yale's ranked 74, which is pretty darn good for a team like them. But once again, if you look at the numbers, they're 118th in defense and 58th in offense, which is really it makes you wonder. And I mean, I understand KenPom to a degree, but like, how does that equate to 74 is kind of interesting to me. I guess what I'm saying is if you add where those two things are ranked together, let's see, 118 plus 58, that's 176. Then you've got a team right here in St. Joseph's 111 plus 63. I guess 174. Not a huge difference. They're a little bit better, but but their St. Joe's is 9 spots worse than Yale. So it's interesting where these numbers come from on KenPom. But once again, I mean, that defense, that's nothing. 118th, even with Texas A&M's offensive struggles that we've seen at times this year, they should be able to score. I mean, we talk about, I share my concerns on Texas A&M's defense, and it's ranked 44th. I mean, so Yale, their strength is supposed to be their offense, and it's 14 points or 14 places worse in the KenPom rankings than Texas A&M's. And now I'll tell you this, and I've talked about him, I like the Polakaitis kid a lot. He's really good. He's a good shooter. And yeah, he was a kid. I remember watching him. I'm sure everybody did. He's from Naperville. I played ball up there. And he is a guy that dominated Auburn last year. So yeah, people are going to be worried about him. And I mean, he's played pretty good ball of late. He's scored over 10 points, over actually 12 points in every game, his last 5, 25 in the Ivy League championship against Cornell, 27 against Brown on the 8th, scored 13 against Princeton. I mean, he's a great player. And he's a guy that can score from all over the floor. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to want, to shoot the 3 ball. He's actually shooting 7.8 3-point attempts per game. So this is interesting because we talked about this. Yale does not shoot a lot of 3-pointers per game. It was something like, wasn't it? We just discussed this on the show the other day. It was something in like the 20s. They were in the 20s. Might have been on this page. Now I got to find them because I want to get this exactly right. So, they aren't a team that is going to try and light it up by shooting a ton of 3-pointers. They're going to shoot them, but most of them are going, they're right there. They're 302nd in college basketball in 3-point attempts per game at 19.7, yet Polakaitis shoots 7.8 3-pointers per game, shooting 40.9%. So he is the guy that's basically shoots almost 50% of their 3-pointers. And I mean, because like you pull up a guy like their big guy Townsend, he shoots 1.8 a game. And then how many does Mbang shoot? He's their other guy. I bet he shoots probably 4 or 5. Yeah, only 3.8. So I mean that shows you, like, right between those guys right there, Polakaitis, so that's basically 14 of their 19.7 3-point attempts per game. So the point is, I think you got to be willing to get burned by one of these guys, but it can't be Polakaitis. If he is draining threes all night, if he goes for 34 points and makes 8 3-pointers, I think that is when the Aggies could lose this game. That is when you could lose, is when he scores 34 points and he's super efficient from the field. But, I mean, the other part about this is don't let them get second chance opportunities. Clean up the glass. If Texas A&M gets second chance opportunities, which they've been good at all year, they're the best team in the nation at it. If they do that while preventing Yale from getting second chance opportunities, they're going to win this basketball game. If Wade Taylor has a good game and he's efficient and he doesn't turn the ball over, Texas A&M's going to win this game. All you got to do to avoid the upset, play good defense, rebound the ball, and have one of your guards, preferably Wade Taylor, and one of your forwards play well. If those things happen, you're going to win. That's the reality. And in all honesty, and what is the spread? I haven't actually seen it. Is it 7.5 points? If you do those things, you're going to win and you're going to cover the spread. So people are going to pick the upset tonight. People are going to pick it, and that's fine. People think Yale's going to come in and win this game. I think that not as many folks would be saying this if Auburn hadn't lost to Yale last year. If Auburn bounces Yale last year in the first round of the tournament, no one is talking about this. This isn't even a conversation. So that's kind of my take on the matter. I think that people are going to I think that A&M's going to handle their business in this game. People are going to go, okay, Yale was a one-hit wonder because of the win over Auburn, and the Polakaitis kid's a really good player, but they're not a great team. They're not better than an SEC, power like A&M. So that is my take on this game. I'll give you a score prediction. I think that the Aggies are going to win this one. Yale's the team. What do they score per game? 81.7 points per game. I think Texas A&M is going to hold them well under their average. I think Texas A&M wins this game 72-61. I think they win it by. I think that's I think they are going to win this game by 11 points, and it's going to be an ugly game for Yale. A&M's going to play great defense, and you're going to get a good game from Wade Taylor. That is my prediction. All right, we're going to talk about some recruiting in the state of Texas because it's really weird, and I'm going to tell you why coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was wasting on things like food delivery and subscriptions. Now I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your entire first year. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. Those of you everydayers here at Locked On Aggies know that I love Game Time. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd and witnessing unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person. Getting tickets should not be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. Curation makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, etc. I just checked the Game Time app, and there are amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up, especially in the NCAA Tournament. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. With seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee, you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. So this is something I talked about the other day, and it's just, I don't know why, but every day that goes by, it bothers me just a little bit, and a little bit more. And that is the fact that Texas A&M in the 2026 class does not have any commits from the state of Texas. So what I want to talk about with this, first of all, and you did lose a commit the other day. Ruffin flips over to Belichick, a guy I was excited about. He was kind of your beef in the middle. I thought he was me a great player. Hated that loss. But so you have 7 current commits. You have Georgia, California, New Jersey, California, Utah, right? Those are your 7 commits. And here's where I get concerned. And I might be overly concerned. This might not be a big deal. I could be overly worrying about something that's not that big of a deal. And that's why I wanted to talk about this again. But it just, we talked about this, I don't know, probably a month ago. And I know that it's just, there's not been any smoke or anything. That's why I get concerned. So hear me out. My concern, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is my concern. My concern is that Mike Elko is going to kind of do the whole, hey, let's recruit California and Utah and all of these great places, which is a good thing. It's never bad to recruit. I'm not saying that every single recruit for the University of, or for Texas A&M should come from the state of Texas. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I think that it needs to be your main focus. Recruiting in your backyard needs to be your main focus. And the reason why is because one of the biggest schools that you're going to be fighting with on the recruiting trail, not this year, forever, and it has been forever, and that is, of course, the Texas Longhorns. If Texas is dominating, absolutely dominating in that aspect of recruiting inside the state of Texas, it's bad for Texas A&M. That's the reality. So Texas A&M is going to have to find a way to recruit in their own state. I'm not like, I would say, if, let's say my level of concern about our baseball team is a 10, I'd say my level of concern about this right now is a 4. It's not, when we get over 6 is when we'll start to go, okay, what's going on here? I mean, you still probably have another 13 commits coming in this class, and I'm willing to bet 8 of them are from Texas. But, I mean, it would be, I mean, okay, let's play this game. Y'all want to play this game? Let's play this game. Last year, you got 24 total commits. Let's count how many were from the great state of Texas. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 of your 24 recruits in last year's class came from the state of Texas. So what percentage is that? Let's see. I'm not a percentage guy. 16 divided by 24. So, well, that's exactly 67%. Is there? Yeah. So 67% came from, oh, that makes sense. It's 8. It's, yeah, so 2/3. 2/3 here. Once again, I think those of you that have been here for a while now and Locked On Aggies know that math is not my thing. And let's take it a step further. Now let's go down to 2024. 2024, you have 16 total commits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 of them came from Texas. So that's actually not quite as much. So 7 of 16. About 44%. And right now, you were sitting at 0%. And I'm not saying, I really do like that 2/3 coming from the state of Texas. Now, I think that 2024 class would have been much different if there wasn't the coaching, change. You had your players leave and all that. I think that kind of threw a snag there. But I think Texas A&M needs to get, so let's go look at the top Texas recruits. Top Texas 2026 recruits. Top recruits in Texas in 2026. And I'm seeing a lot of crystal balls to Texas. I'm seeing Baylor. I'm seeing USC. I'm seeing Oregon. I'm seeing Houston. But what I'm not seeing is any Texas A&M, not even any crystal balls or anything like that. And so this is my concern. I mean, we all know that elite talent comes from the state of Texas. It's documented, it's proven in the NFL and all that. You got to have it in your recruiting class, and that's my point. So I'm not, like I said, as I said a minute ago, I'm 4 out of 10 concerned. This could, in a month, we could be looking and you have 5 commits from the state of Texas. That could happen. But it still needs to happen is my point, because once again, Texas A&M needs to recruit well in Texas, because if you're missing out on these elite recruits to your rival in your own state against, to Texas, it's not good, and it's not good optically. So Texas A&M needs to dominate in their own state. Want to have a short conversation that y'all know I do this sometimes. We're going to have a short conversation that will hopefully lead to a longer conversation next week. And that is about the future of the quarterback position. How do we feel about it? We'll talk about it coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work like I did yesterday and it did not go well, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late watching all of the tournament action the last couple of days, and 5 Hour Energy has been there to help me. With longer days, I love getting outside for a hike or a run, and Tropical Burst is the best flavor for that right there. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. So the quarterback position. Oh, also here, almost forgot. Want to show y'all our promo video from the bracket breakdown on Amazon Prime. A new thing Locked On's doing, really cool. If A&M moves past first weekend, could be something that I hop in on, and that'll be part of the show. But let's go ahead and take a look at this promo here.
The NCAA Tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA Tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
So, quarterback. How does Texas A&M feel about where they are at the quarterback position? The thought I had is I feel like losing Husan Longstreet might be a bigger deal than we think. So, of course, right now you've got Zeno, but I mean, he's not the future plans. You got Miles O'Neill. Like, is he the future plan? I don't know if I'm buying that. Of course, Marcel Reed, who is the future plan, but I mean, he's not going to be around all that much longer. A couple more years, but still, I mean, we're talking about the future here. I don't think it's Miles O'Neill. Obviously, it's not Zeno. Marcel Reed's going to be the future for the next year or two, unless he's great this year and goes pro. But and then in 2025, you got the two guys in Hart and Morcos. And I mean, I like Hart. Brian Smith, our Locked On recruiting expert, likes Brady Hart a lot. I think Brady Hart could be a guy that develops into a good player. But and then in the 2026 class, you've of course got Helman Kasuga, who I think is a great player, but Helman Kasuga. But that's my question: is how are we future-wise when it comes to the quarterback position? And I feel somewhat confident in the quarterback position. I feel pretty good about it. I think that I'm hoping that Marcel Reed's here for 2 more years, and that gets you through the 2025 and the 2026 season. Then after that, it's kind of when you go, okay. I'm sure Miles O'Neill would be in the portal by that point. And then maybe is it Brady Hart time, or is Kasuga going to get going as a true freshman, or then do you have to hit the portal? But definitely happy that we got a great quarterback coming in Helman Kasuga. 24/7 Sports doesn't have him ranked all that high, but he's a top 200 recruit in the composite rankings. So somebody likes him. But this will be a longer conversation. So that's my question for y'all. Do y'all feel good about the future of the quarterback position? That's my concern. Do we feel good or do we not feel good about the future of the quarterback position? Let me know that in the YouTube comments. Always, again, you got Hart, you got O'Neill, you got Morcos, and you got Kasuga on top of, now you got Zeno and Marcel Reed. Do we feel good about the future? Not right now, maybe not even next year, but the future, the 27, 28. How do we feel about the quarterback position? Because quarterback is the position. It's the number one to me that you have to be thinking well in advance. So how do we feel about that? Let me know in the YouTube comments. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank y'all so much for being here every single day. I really, really do appreciate it. Listen, tomorrow we will talk about whatever happens tonight against Yale, and we will talk about the baseball series coming up this weekend. So, and probably some kind of football topic as well. So be prepared for tomorrow's show. Going to be a fun one, a lot of fun topics. Have a great rest of your day today. Enjoy the basketball game against Yale tonight. We need a big win. Aggies, let's go and beat the hell out of the Yale Bulldogs tonight. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.